Visible? Visible?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Okay. So we will cover 5 topics: media and health, education and media, gender and media, environment and media, media and human rights. Media and health. So, health is very crucial. As stated in Sustainable Development Goals by UN, uh, health is very crucial. The World Health Organization defines health as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. So Sustainable Development Goal 3 is about good health. Okay, there are some targets in Sustainable Development Goals about some things like AIDS, tuberculosis, malaria, death of newborns, uh, maternal mortality, like this. So all the health issues which are very crucial for entire world, specifically developing world, underdeveloped world, are targeted by Sustainable Development Goals. So, if we see the World Health Statistics 2022, we can see that it is like IHR State Party Self Assessment Annual Report. Here, the European region reported the highest average score across all capacities. In this slide, we can see that 15 indicators are there, from policy, legal, and normative instruments to implement IHR to radiation energies. So, these are the 15 indicators or 15 parameters taken to form the report. So, as per the report, the lowest ranking area is African region, that reported the lowest average score, 48%, which is less than 50% of the total. So as we can see that the last three areas are Southeast Asia, Eastern Mediterranean, and African region, and the most vulnerable specific area is African region. So the health issues or health communication or health journalism is very important and plays very important role in specifically Southeast Asia and African countries. So the call for health for all is an attempt by government and various agencies to ensure that each person in a given society has the ability to lead productive and healthy lives. So the journalism and the communication system all are targeted to achieve the goal health for all. We have different health hazards like non-communicable diseases on a large scale, then communicable diseases like malaria, TB, HIV or AIDS, waterborne diseases like cholera, diarrhea, then women and reproductive age, newborn children. Another, nowadays we are facing major problem with lifestyle issues. Issues means obesity and different mental problems, and all are covered in health issues. So to target the audience to achieve the specific health goal, we have one tool that is called health communication. Health communication is the, I am audible, right?
Yes, yes.
Health communication,
Yes, yes.
exchange of information between individual. For example, by means of speaking, like if I am health communicator, I'll speak or I'll write or I'll use any kind of media tools to communicate with my audience. And here I have another thing, that is message. In health communication, we have one message, we have one communication system, and we have to have rapport. Rapport means if I'm targeting some audience, I should have a good rapport with them. I should know the target audience or the group or the folk. I should have the sense of mutual understanding and sympathy. The last is access, a means of access or communication. For example, connecting door. Okay, means means I have message, but if you don't have the access, I can't get you, right? Then objectives. What are the objectives of health communication? To inform and influence individual and community decision, motivating individuals, aimed at behavioral or social change, empowers people, exchange of information with two-way dialogues. I'll give you some information or communication or some message, and I'll get some feedback from you how you are getting the message. So it's a two-way exchange of information. What is the role of media here? Media contributes in educating the public about health issues and has a responsibility to report accurate health information to the public. So as you see in the COVID time, that in India we had many misinformation, many fake news about COVID and the invention of vaccine, COVID vaccine, the worldwide, the death rates and all. So all these misinformations come from fake or false health communication. So health is very crucial for all. So health communication should be very specific and ethical. The effectiveness is media can place health issues on the national public agenda and can catalyze action at national and local levels. If I am a media person and I am reporting something, it will reach the audience as well as the higher authority. According to that, they will make their policy or they will make some changes in their policies at national or local level. So health communication is very crucial for national as well as local levels. Various behavior change theories and models have also recognized media as a change agent for health communication. But media is really influenced by the political issues and other like economical or political economy of media. So if I want to report any health issues, sometimes as a journalist I'll not get the specific place or specific time in media because it will be preoccupied by some business owners, by some by some what should I say, um, by someone who paid a handsome money to the editor or to the owner of the media house. Other medias like the entry of satellite channels in India introduce soap drama. Soap drama means television serials, dramas. So the first of all, we can say about Hum Log. Hum Log was television drama that targeted some rural people, and they were focused on various social issues, including health of pregnant women, bearing of number of children uh, in the hope of a son. Like there were in India, there were some issues like people get again they are hoping for child again and again as until or unless they are getting a son. So they always hope for a son when they are getting pregnant. So in Hamlok serial they have targeted like that. They have given some mental as well as behavioral change communication aids to those women. The other TV programs are also there in India which targeted health to the television audience. Another thing is rural communities. In rural communities sometimes we don't have television systems in very rural and specific remote areas. There we can reach with radios and community media like community radio. We have community radios run by different NGOs and universities. They used to reach to those people who lack the access to the specific radio, means national radio or national television system. Use of community based media is very easy, and in community based media it is run by the community itself, and they target the community people and they report their issues only in their local language. So if we target some audience or folk for some behavioral change, the culture is the specific issue we have to target. We have to learn their culture. We have to use their local language that is specifically used by different organization or UNESCO or any sorry World Health Organization or like any other organization who target health. Digital media. So next to that comes digital media. after the COVID, we can also use digital media or something. Means in India, digital media is like very useful nowadays. People are using digital media for their regular health checkup. We have different apps to check our health. We have different applications to book our slots for doctors, different medical institutions and all. The specific benefit of digital media or ICT for health is easily availability. We have mobile phones on our hand, we can use that. We have internet on our mobile internet connection. It is cost friendly. Data plans are cost friendly in India. Then we have digital media, but there are some problems. Digital media can't reach all the audience. We have digital divide. The quality of information is sometime it's not up to that mark. The privacy and the confidentiality of the personal health information is not assured by some application. Then in our health communication, if we are masters of journalism and mass communication, we have to learn about some theories, not only the health communication. Some theories that is used in health communication and health communication researches are behavioral and social science theories, mass communication theories, strategic behavior and social change communication. Are you listening, everyone?
Yes, we are.
Yes, yes,
Okay,
yes,
getting my point?
yes, yes,
Okay. So if we are learning health communication, we have to learn different theories. Beside mass communication theories, we have other theories like psychological theories, social change theories, behavioral social science theories. Why? Because with only the mass communication theories, we can't target all the social problems, because mass communication is a branch of social science that is coming from sociology, psychology and other disciplines. So it is kind of applied social science. So we have to borrow some theories from different branches to form our own branch. So the behavioral and social science theories used in health communication are diffusion of innovation theory, social cognitive theory, communication for persuasion theory. So these are the theories you can search and you can learn more on that, the usage of these theories for health communication if you want. These theories, all these theories are not there in your textbook, block 3, but you can search more. Mass communication theory like cultivation theory. Cultivation theory is specifically used in mass communication. Cultivation theory means George Gardner introduced cultivation theory, specifies that repeated exposure and intense exposure to any kind of message, that can be real or uh, unreal, anything, it will lead to the perception of the reality. If I watch every day that the world is going to be destroyed by some other force, one day I'll believe that it will be destroyed by some other force. So it is like repeated exposure and intense exposure to any kind of thing will lead myself and my thought to believe on that. Then strategic behavior and social change communication. So this strategic behavior and social change communication is very crucial in health communication, because health communication target the social change and behavioral change. The different models are there, like combi model, precede proceed model, then social and behavioral change communication practice. It is there in your book. Social and behavioral change communication practice is kind of a conceptual frame. People always resist themselves from having some other opinion. Like if we take the example from the COVID era, when the COVID vaccine was first introduced, we were not that much willing to get the vaccine. We were reluctant to get that vaccine. Sometimes in age old people in India, we have more people after 50, they are not willing to get the vaccine because they believe that the vaccine will cause some death and all. So this is the belief system. They will not get something that is introduced very newly. So it takes time to get that. uh, the smart, timely, and relevant communication approach is not just enough to achieve the participation of the people in a health program. Social and behavioral change communication is the use of communication to change behaviors by positively influencing knowledge, attitude, and social norms at the individual and community level. So, knowledge, attitude, and lastly, social norm. Social norm is very crucial for communication, health communication. So, this SBCC include but not are limited to media campaigns, peer educators, mentors, small group sessions, community dialogues, events, digital tools. So, social and behavioral change communication is not about mass media, television, radio, community media, not about that. It is more about person to person communication. It is called interpersonal communication. Face to face communication is very crucial in social and behavioral change communication. Interpersonal communication, community participatory approach means they will engage the folks, they will engage the target audience in that session. SMS based platform and media channels are also crucial because we won't get the effectiveness from one communication only. So target will be one, corona, polio eradication, but we will have messages from SMS, from mass media channels, from our community level health workers, and from our friends as well. So different angles, if we are getting the message, our belief, our social behavior can be changed or might be changed. We can get examples of family planning program in India and polio eradication program in India. Lastly, but not the least, inter-educate communication. Inter-educate communication is more about entertainment education. Blending of popular entertainment with social messages to change reproductive health behavior. It is one example. Inter-educate approach spread message through songs, soap operas, variety shows, and other popular entertainment mediums. They entertain people, and with the help and mask of entertainment, they will put or push a message into you or your mind. So if we target young people, we can use these songs, jingles, soap operas to give them some message about health or social health or behavior change. TV weekly program Kalyani, which was launched in 2002 in India to change behavior and influence social action on issues of health such as tuberculosis, cancer, HIV, malaria, iodine deficiency, misuse of tobacco, and waterborne disease. So this Kalyani show, it is a kind of reality show. Here the doctor visited the rural areas to interact with the community, and while interaction they will get some inputs from those person as well. So it is a kind of entertainment format of health education or health communication. Then education and media. So health and communication is clear. Hello, am I?
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay. Now we are going to learn about education and media. Education is, we know about education and we know about literacy. Education and literacy is sometimes interchangeably used, but education and literacy is different. Literacy is ability to read and write. I can read English, I can write English, means I am English literate, but I am not educated. I can't call myself educated person because education is more than literacy. It's a larger concept. It leads to the development of my capabilities, how I am using my capabilities for my own development or the development of others. Education serves several functions for the society. This includes socialization, social integration, social placement, social and cultural innovation. Sustainable Development Goal 4 ensures inclusive and equality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. Lifelong learning opportunities means my learning is not finished with my master's degree. I can learn more and more till my death. It is lifelong learning. With the introduction of ICT, lifelong learning is more placed in the popular frames. So as we can say that in India, specifically in India, pre-independent era means before our independence, before the arrival of British, India is having colonial history, as we know that. Before the arrival of British, we had uh, a system of kings, and we had monarchies. So at that time we had Gurukul system. Gurukul system means the children were children were placed to the Gurukul, one house that is owned by one person. That person is called Guru. That Guru will deliver the children all the education. It is called Gurukul system. After that, when the British arrived in India, some modern education system introduced in India, like schools and all. Then means we are going to the same direction: schools, university, college, modern education system. Presently, with the introduction of ICT, we have got very modern education system. With the help of internet, with the help of mobile phone and our system, we can read and learn. So from Gurukul system, then school college system, and presently open and distance learning system, and ICT or technology aided education system is there. So media and education, media can help to deliver the learning material from communicator to the receiver. I am communicator, you are the receiver. I am using my laptop or internet to communicate with you people. This is the usage of media for education. Television, radio, internet, online education, video based learning, mobile learning, everything like uh, these are the benefits of media we can use for education. We can use these things as a tool to give some message to the educators or the lifelong learners. There are different benefits of ICT, like flexibility, adaptability. We can learn things anytime, anywhere. Access to remote learning resources, like you can, there are different resources by different universities in India as well as outside India. We can remotely access their resources. They have some repository kind of thing. We can access their resources. It is like means we can do that only for the introduction of ICT in the education system. The educational communication can be discussed with Harold D. Laswell's model of communication. Harold D. Laswell model is about who says what, in which channel, to whom, with what effect. Who means the communicator, me. Says what, I am teaching you about education and media. In which channel? This internet. To whom? You people. With what effect? Effect I don't know. Effect I will know after the session. Using ICT in education. UNESCO specifically focused on the ICT in education system. UNESCO is having different materials, different initiatives and courses and all about education and ICT. UNESCO listed some benefits of using ICT in education. Expand educational opportunities by making education available anywhere, anytime, to anyone. Improve learning outcome by making learning more interactive and getting learners more involved. How can we make more interactive learning? Improve motivation to learn by improving the relevance of content and making learning more fun. Enable education to be tailored to individual learning needs and abilities. Enable locally relevant teaching materials in local languages. So local languages is very crucial for development and sustainable development goal. Every year we will learn about local language. Local language learn about means we will get this term local language to be created and disseminated quickly and affordably. Facilitate technology skill formation, teamwork abilities, and other 21st century skill. 21st century skill is a package kind of skill, having media skill, having ICT skill, internet skill, to get more outcome from the internet usage. It is called 21st century skill. Bring about pedagogical improvements and learner centered teaching. provide conditions that permit and promote lifelong learning, and increase the effectiveness and efficiency of education planning and delivery. You can see the slide now.
It is visible.
Okay. Using ICT in education. Formal education, we can use ICT in different setups. Three different setups of education are formal education, non-formal education, and informal education. Formal education means the formal way of getting education, like uh, secondary, higher secondary, then graduation or bachelor's course, then master's course. This is the formal setup of education. Then non-formal education setup means it is like not having anything like scorecard and anything specific system for the education, and what should I say, like it is not having any specific rules for the education. It is called non-formal education. Like open education resources. Open education resources means we can search different videos by different universities, uploaded by different universities, like ignu materials. These ignu materials, whatever we are getting, are open education resources. Anyone can use these resources for their personal usage or for their knowledge and all. Then massive open online course, MOOCs. MOOCs are very modern initiative by non-formal education system. So in MOOC we can enroll ourselves and we can learn things. But the very what should I say? Uh, very what should I say? Pro Pro of MOOC is if we don't want to give the examination after enrollment, so there is no need to give the examination. We will not get the certificate. But if we want to get the certificate, we have to give the examination. So MOOC is another set of non-formal education. It is ICT driven or technology enabled learning. So all these non-formal and informal education, these are the gift of internet or ICT. Informal education means there is no formality in the education, no rules. I can learn anywhere, anytime. Google search, normal getting something, some information, some sources from different search engines. These are under informal education. So as we understood that formal, non-formal, and informal education, these three setups of education can be delivered using ICT. Okay, or open and distance learning also used. But there are some challenges in using ICT for education. Technological advances. Right now, I'm using one technology or one specific technological tool. Later on, after 20 years, it cannot be used for the same purpose. Media use habits are changing. I can't use, right now I'm using Facebook, but later on, after 20 or 30 years, I can't use this some developed version of Facebook or some developed version of social media. Competence requirements for educators changing. So if I'm an educator, I'm very young educator, that's why I can deal with ICT and tools to give the lectures to other students and all. But there are teachers who cannot adapt to those internet and ICT driven technological system. These are the challenges faced by different educators. Education lacks resources. Different resources means there are more students in India who doesn't have any kind of tabs or laptops. They are using their mobiles. Sometimes in mobiles, if I am using Zoom or Google Meet, we face problem because in mobile we don't have that much setups and that much applications. Changes in society and media culture challenges media education. So society and media culture is another thing. In India, we have some experiences. Okay, in India, if we talk about educational experiment, the first is coming, that is SITE. SITE, the full form of SITE is Satellite instructional television experiment. This experiment was one of the first experiment from the developing countries. It was conducted in India in 1975 to 1976. Television was a rare event at that time, but TV sets for the community viewing were set up in schools or panchayat centers. In 2,400 villages, six states of India. The program were directed at creating a positive attitude to formal education and making education interesting, creative, purposive, and stimulating. Next to that is Kheda Communication Project. Kheda Communication Project was another initiative by Indian government. It was Kheda is a district in Gujarat. This project demonstrated how technology can be put to use social progress and development, specifically for one who are in the deprived segment of the society. E-Pathshala is another initiative. E-Pathshala is very modern experiment done by Ministry of HRD and NCRT jointly launched it. It is an educational portal called E-Pathshala. In this portal, we can have materials on three languages: English, Hindi, and Urdu. Educational resources for students, teachers, as well as parents, we can get there. It is kind of application based educational initiative where we can install the application and we can read books and we can watch audio visual educational materials. Next to that, countrywide classroom project, University Grant Commission in collaboration with INSAT launched educational television project popularly known as countrywide classroom project. Then UGC Infonet program. The UGC Infonet digital library is a digital library program where we can have different resources for the higher educational purpose, higher educational system. It is a vehicle for distance learning to facilitate spread of quality education for everyone all over the country. Other initiatives like Gyan Darshan. Gyan Darshan channel is a major milestone in the field of educational television in India. Gyan Darshan is 24-hour educational channel. Okay, it was started by the Ministry of Human Resource Development, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, Prasar Bharati, and IGNOU. Gyan Darshan offers educational programs covering a variety of subjects. Okay, this includes preschool, primary, secondary, higher secondary students, college, university students, or youth seeking career opportunities, and it also target homemakers and working professionals. Gyanvani is the radio channel. It was launched in 2001. Gyanvani serves as an ideal medium for niche audience. Niche audience means very specific audience, not for all. It addresses local education, development, and socio-cultural requirements for the people. Okay. The overall content pertains to primary, secondary education, adult education, technical and vocational education, higher education, distance education, and extension education, etc. These are the content parameters given by the Gyanvani. Next is Gyandhara and e-Gyankosh. Gyandhara is an internet audio counseling service offered by IGNOU. You can access this counseling session using this link. Then next to that is e-Gyankosh. E-Gyankosh is a national digital repository to store, index, and uh, preserve, distribute, share the digital learning resources developed by open and distance learning institution like IGNOU. Okay. As we learned that in health communication, we follow some theories to learn or to study health communication, the process of health communication, the outcome of health communication. Likewise, in educational communication also we follow some theories. So the educational communication we follow learning theories. Some theories are Piaget's theory of cognitive development, cognitive learning theory, constructivism learning theory, social learning theory, behaviorism learning theory, connectivism learning theory, then Vygotsky's theory of learning. If you want to know about these theories, you can note down and you can search more on this. Um, am I clear? Education and media, everyone. You get my point?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
yes,
Okay. So, can we proceed to the next unit, gender and media?
yes,
Hmm?
yes, you can.
Okay, thank you. Gender and media. The third one is gender and media. Gender is all pervasive and it is a cultural construct. So gender is not biological thing. Gender is cultural construct. And that's why language and representation are very crucial in gender. So, media, which represent language and text, makes gender issues visible as well as invisible at the same time. If media focus on some specific gender stereotyping, then it will be cultivated within our mind. If media is uh, neglecting any of the issues, we will not get that issues in our mind. We will also neglect that. One of the most long lasting impact of gender representation in media is that of stereotyping, which refers to defined way of showing. Stereotyping means defined way of showing, means I am defining how I will show it myself or yourself, or fixing certain characteristic of oneself, means I have fixed some specific characteristic of women. In media, in Indian media, we can see uh, different television serials or soap operas where they will focus on the gender representation, specifically women representation. They will focus on the specific gender roles, like women will only cook there. In serials, we can see that maximum serials women will cook, and the male counterpart of the family, they will go for the job, they will earn the money. So this is the specific way of showing in televisions or in movies. But there are different alternative sources as well in films, TV serials and all, but majority goes to the stereotypical representation of gender. Women are most often shown as delicate, pretty, jocile, helpless, unintelligent, whereas men are shown in control of situation. Representation of women can best be described as narrow, specifically in Indian context. Heterosexuality is considered norm and homosexuality as abnormal. In India, we specifically call it's not straight. The specific word, not straight. Straight means heterosexual, means I am straight, means I am heterosexual. I am not straight means I am homosexual. So homosexuality is the usage of different adjectives or the specifications for homosexuality is not normal. It is kind of abnormal. Such stereotypical representation or stereotypical thinking not only make it difficult for people who do not fit into the fixed norm, but also create resistance for deviation in the society. So we don't focus on the deviation. We are really we have bound our mind within this heterosexuality. Will not go beyond that. But the introduction of different what should I say, different uh, mm, different challenging films and web series, they are changing people's mind, they are affecting our mind, and we have started taking this homosexuality or out of the norm context normally. The activist history of first phase print media. So if we talk about gender and media, First, we will talk about print media. Betty Friedan. If we talk about feminist media studies, gender and media is related to feminist media studies. In feminist media studies, we study on print. We study on gender and media representation, gender and media, and different issues related to media and gender. Like the field of feminist media studies history arguably begins with Betty Friedan's 1963 attack on popular women's magazine. Then next to that, we can talk about Donna Allen. In 1972, she founded the Women's Institute for Freedom of Press. Allen and her second daughter, Martha Leslie Allen, identified three principles for feminist journalism. Never attack or use words that judge people. Privilege fact over opinion and let people speak for themselves. Sometimes something male journalism refused to do. So male journalism, if we see the journalism structure in India, there are more male journalists. So male journalists who are writing about some specific issues related to female or women counterpart, they will write down it differently. But if the feminist or female journalists, they are writing their story, it will be different. Second phase is television and text. A US Commission on Civil Rights report documented the stereotyping and underrepresentation of women and people of color in prime television dramas and news. In general, content analysis assume both cause and effect. So, cause means sexism, relatedly, women's lack of access to media employment. That I told that women's lack of access to media employment, and the effect is lowering self-esteem of women consumers. Then next to that, Ferguson attributed feminists' demand, their demand for better representation of women in programs content, for a higher status of representation of women inside media organization. Media texts are made in contexts that articulate with the current dimension of power, ideology, and these are beyond the making of individuals. But such texts remain cultural forms whose meanings are neither real nor unreal, but made and constructed. So, if there are less numbers of female journalists in media system, then we can say that the media text which are made by them are not real. It is constructed, and the version of the representation of the females or women or specific themes related to gender will be the constructed meaning of those journalists, meaning made by those journalists. Gay Touchman in symbolic annihilation of women in media reflected that media do not reflect social change in women's lives. The concept of symbolic annihilation, the media annihilated women through omission, trivialization, and condemnation. Third phase, film. Feminist film theories focus on how structures and narrative strategies guided cinema spectatorship in gendered ways, thereby constructing women as others. So, we have feminist media theories, we also have feminist film theories. Feminist film theories is kind of movement where we can see that the how films represent feminism, how films represent the stereotypical or the traditional gender roles. Gaze theory, the wide influence of Laura Mulvey's 1975 AZ is a basic example, a basic concept related to the feminist film theory, visual pleasure and narrative cinema. This is the essay written by Laura Mulvey in 1975, which lead the movement of gaze theory. Using psychoanalytic theory to explain gendered views, dynamics, Laura Mulvey famously described Hollywood structuring of male gaze. Male gaze means patriarchy in Hollywood cinema. So we have gaze theory, we have male gaze. And recently we have female gaze too. Alexander Rogia, Rudaba Nasir, and Hayen Traren argue that gender misrepresentation in mainstream media is common across countries and cultures all over the world. So it is not specifically in other countries like UK or like Hollywood industry or Indian Bollywood industry. It is everywhere. Next to that, we will talk about information communication technology. Feminist theorizing about technology tends to privilege how women try more and less successfully to adapt technology, cell phone, pump pilot, software. So in some cases, in researches, the research findings reported that specifically females, they are not the early adapter of technological changes or technological inventions. They are, sometimes they are the laggards. They can't adapt those things very promptly. Alternative media, in particular, demonstrate even more clearly than the post feminist bloggers side the feminist potential of technology for helping to challenge dominant representation. So, it's a dominant representation of female can be countered by alternative media. Alternative media, specific source of alternative media is information communication technology. We have different social media pages, we have hashtag movements, we have like hashtag movements and Twitter hashtag movements and different YouTube channels, sorry, not Twitter. There females try to represent themselves and try to create alternative space for themselves. Feminist internet studies the dominant feminist vision on new information and communication technology was that they were male dominated. Structural, social, psychological, cultural factors rooted in a patriarchal society where all seem to be prevent women from gaining access to ICT, both as producers as well as users. So it is from the end of producer as well as users. If I can't produce, I can't represent myself. If I can't use, I can't produce. The influential theoretical perspective can be distinguished here within feminist theory, within the domain of women and women empowerment. Those are women in development, WID, women and development, WAD, gender and development, GAD. These are the three specific school of thought for women and development. Uh, Different projects and different organizations worked for gender and gender representation, gender roles, gender and media. Global Media Monitoring Project is a longitudinal research and advocacy initiative on gender in the world news media, globally coordinated by the World Association for Christian Communication. Next to that, resource kit, WACC resource kit and WACC and International Federation of Journalists launched a resource to promote gender ethical journalism. The Learning Resource Kit for Gender Ethical Journalism and Media House Policy is the outcome of a project launched in July 2011 to promote fair gender portrayal within media houses and the journalistic profession. Next to that, one handbook is there. The Mediterranean Institute of Gender Studies from Republic of Cyprus has created this gender and media handbook in 2005. You all can access it and read it. It is very important text for gender and media, any knowledge on gender and media. We have different curriculum like UniTwin is a process of developing curriculum for gender sensitive coverage of media issues of media school. It is in a process of publishing under the title Gender, Media and ICT New Approaches for Research, Education and Training. Others are National Organization, AWAG, Ahmedabad Women's Action Group and Seva Video. In Gujarat, Skills Madras. Madras is one state, one city here in one state. The present name of Madras is Chennai. Based group. Video volunteers, women feature service in Delhi, the network of women in media in 16 centers across the country Groups working for the sexual minorities are also working for the gender and media. Next to that, international organizations like Gina Davis Institute on Gender in Media was founded in 2004 by Academy Award winning actor and advocate Gina Davis. The institute and its programming arm, see Jane, are at the forefront of changing female portrayals and gender stereotypes in children's media and entertainment. The Global Women's Studies and Gender Research Network, established in 2006 by UNESCO, it is another stakeholder. This network is another stakeholder to talk about gender portrayal and all. UNESCO has continued to work in the area of gender and media and has number of publication to that effect. You can search on UNESCO's publication on gender. You can get all those things. Then Jean Kilbourne's lecture about image of women in advertising was made into a documentary called Killing Us Softly, Advertising's Image of Women. So this documentary is very popular. It will show you the lecture given by Kilbourne. So we have discussed about health and media. Then next to that, education and media. Then gender and media. Anyone has any question? Am I audible?
Yes. Yes, we can hear you.
Any question?
Not from me.
Okay, anyone else? No. How is the lecture going?
We are actually following. We are following you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The fourth topic is environment and media. Environment means we all know that we are living in environment. So for our sustainability, for the sustainability of ecosystem where we are living, environmental journalism, environmental communication, these are very crucial. Being a subsystem of ecosystem, people depend on it. It surrounds and supports them just as the white of an egg. So white of an egg means the ecosystem is the egg white and we are the yolk. Different things, different environmental problems, different environmental issues are there, like air pollution, transportation, energy production, technology, chemicals and waste, ecosystem degradation, water scarcity and pollution, disasters and conflicts. These all lead to the climate change. So for to deal with the climate change, we have to handle all these things. We have to handle air pollution, transportation, energy production, technology, chemicals and waste, ecosystem degradation, water scarcity, pollution, disasters and conflict. Environmental communication is the tool to deal with these things. So if we want to change these things, we have to deal with people with environmental communication. Robert Cox defines environmental communication as the pragmatic and constitutive vehicle for our understanding of environment as well as our relationship to the natural world. It is the symbolic medium that we use in constructing environmental problems and negotiating society's different responses to them. So, environmental communication is pragmatic as well as constitutive. Pragmatic because it solves environmental problems. How it solves environmental problem? By alerting us, by giving us the proper information, by educating us, by persuading us to change our habits, to change our daily life systems, so that the environment is not influenced, to mobilize the mass, not the individual. Communication plays a vital role in this area by helping citizens and organizations to achieve the goal towards the solving environmental problem. Environmental communication is constitutive because it it constitute and it shapes our perception of the environment. It helps to shape our perception, our understanding about the environmental issues. Alexander Flower explained that environmental communication has six essentials. First, knowledge of ecological laws. We have to have the knowledge of ecological laws. Sensitivity to the cultural dimension. Again, cultural dimension. Ability to network effectively. Efficiency in using media for social agenda setting. Appreciation and practice of environmental ethics. And conflict resolution, mediation, and arbitration. Environmental communication is very generic in nature. If we deal with any kind of environmental issue, if we report about any kind of environmental thing, it will come under directly the environmental communication. Another branch of this is climate change communication. Climate change communication is very popular topic because nowadays, as we know that the snow region in the world, the snow is slowly the snow is melting. So it is assumed that after a certain year we will be totally submerged with the water. So we have to stop the climate change, we have to deal with the climate change as soon as possible. We can deal with the climate change using specific climate change communication and effective climate change communication. Effectiveness of the climate change communication is very useful. Information, awareness raising, concern, response. All these are related to behavior change. So if we want to target climate change communication, we have to change the behavior of individual. How? With proper information, with giving them awareness, to raise their awareness, to give them and to make them responsible for their own behaviors. Framing of issues by the media. Framing means using specific language, metaphors, visuals, and other things. So media means I am writing something, or I'm speaking about something, representing something with text, videos, or my vocals. So these all uses languages either in written form or spoken, with different metaphors and visuals. We have to use proper language, effective metaphors, and proper visual to frame the media text related to climate change communication. Because framing is very crucial in any kind of development communication. It may be health, it might be climate change communication, health communication, education, or gender specific anything. Frames build the context of the message, thus, it provides the intended perspective from which the audience should perceive it. So, if I want to give you any kind of perspective to look into any issue, I have to provide you with specific frames for the effectiveness of my communication, for the desired result of my communication. Frames are very important. Next to that, message. What information and from which source this message is coming. If we look at the sources, we can understand the first one, the objectivity of the news, and the what should I say, objectivity and truthfulness of the news. The source carries that. Then messengers, who is the messenger? Who is delivering that message? Politicians, scientists, advocates, pundits, business people, celebrities, or peers? So if we see that some politician from a political agenda, while fixing political agenda, one politician is delivering lecture about climate change, we have to think it from that perspective, that how this communication, how this climate change communication or environmental communication is helping that politician to get the lead or to get the seat. So we have to think all this thing from different perspective, from different angles, and we have to be very skeptical about the messenger. Channels and modes of communication. So we have to see the channels and mode of communication, means the print media or social media or Facebook or something, because medium is the message. Medium is the message means if we see something in specific media, we can understand the vulnerability of the issue or the importance of the issue. If I see anything, any report on the first page of the daily newspaper, I can understand that it is very crucial news for that day. This is how the channel or mode of communication is important. Community media makes it more one of the most suitable channel of communicating climate change communication with communities. Why? Because community media always reports the problem of the communities, how the local problem, localized climate change problem or environmental problem is there. We can found it in community media. Why? Because community media is made by those people from the local area. It enables the diverse section of community to express their ideas and values. So the climate or environmental issue is a specific issue that can be dealt from the local to global. Health or something else, health and communication, not something else, sorry, health and communication, these are the issues we have to think from the local to global. If the local issue is solved, if the individual's issue is solved, then we can solve the global problem, because with more and more individuals, the world is constituted. uh, there are some strategies people follow for climate change communication. Know your audience and select a credible messenger for the audience. As I told, that credible messenger, from these messengers like politicians, scientists, advocates, pundits, business people, celebrities, we have to select our messenger. Know what type of claim, argument you are asserting and why it is appropriate for your audience. Connect your message to cultural values and beliefs. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, you are.
Okay. Connect your message to cultural values and beliefs. People react to tradition, experiments, and experiences, and shared values. If I am going to any African countries for climate change communication as a representative from any kind of climate change organizations and all, I have to learn their language, or I have to take someone from their community to make them understand those issues in their own language. Because to deal with the developmental thing or environmental issues or health, we need local language, we need local culture, and we have to learn about local beliefs and values. Because if we pinpoint on beliefs and values, and if we violate that beliefs and values, they will not listen to us, whatever the topic is. If it is about their benefit, about their well-being, they will not listen to us as soon as we are not totally sensitive about their values and beliefs and traditions. Make the message meaningful. Appeal to values that are meaningful to your audience. For example, speak in spiritual language. Like in India, we have different religions like Hinduism, Islam. If we go to the house of any Hindu people, we can get one tree that is called Tulsi tree. Tulsi tree is regarded as very holy tree. It is not a tree, it is a small plant. Tulsi plant, it is regarded as a very holy plant. In every evening, the women or what should I say, women or female member of a family will go to the tulsi plant and will water the plant. This is called as the spiritual activity or spiritual thing, but actually the tulsi tree is very good or very beneficial for our health or purification of air. Or tulsi tree, tulsi leaf is having different medicinal values. That's why tulsi tree is very important to have a tulsi tree at your house, because it can deal with different problems like fever, like if you have any skin disease, if you want to build your immunity, tulsi leaf can help. So you have to take that way, you have to take that way, and you have to understand their beliefs and values to capture that audience, to capture their attention. And okay, lead with your strongest argument or your most confident point. Make the message empowering. Tell your audience what specific action they can take to make a difference. Link to global patterns and collective action. Promote a system perspective of the problem and potential solution. Partner with other organization, key players, leaders. If I want to go to any other country outside India, I have to partner with their local organization, local NGOs, local schools, or any other institutions to catch that audience, because local people can help me. Communicate about action, and remember that action and events are an effective mode of communication. These all strategies are given by Narlik Kotioko Brown in 2018. Next to that, we will discuss about environmental journalism. Environmental journalism, so environmental communication, climate change communication is a broader thing. It can be stakeholders action for communicating to those folks in any local area, but environmental journalism is totally means media driven word. Disseminate environmental journalism is how journalists, how any media outlet, how journalists are taking some actions, taking writing, reporting, or delivering something. It is delivered by the journalist. Dissemination of environmental facts. So environmental journalism is the dissemination of environmental facts with the use of television, news channel, radio news, newspaper, magazine, any online news, generating debate on issues related to environment. If I report on any environmental issue in any specific media like BBC, it will be shared by many people on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube and other social media as well, so that it can create debate. So it will create create general debate, promoting among the population. So if I report about any issue, if I report about COVID-19 or any other disease, it will go to the people. It will promote that news to those people, providing synergies to topic ignored in general media. So if I have specific environmental media that is not general media, I can reach people more effectively, because in general media, the first page, the specific prime time, all are occupied by political news or business news, creating synergies among members of public communicators, institution, NGOs, and any agent involved in environmental issues, promoting the approval and improvement of environmental policies. So the main focus or main motto of the environmental journalism is, first, giving the people proper knowledge or proper information about environment. Next, targeting the policy actors to change their policy. and environmental narratives. Environmental narratives means environmental reporting or communication message or anything else that is related to environmental. First one is print media. The environmental magazine Down to Earth covers a wide environment and media variety of environment related topics and their scientific background. Down to Earth is a fortnightly magazine focused on politics of environment and development, published in New Delhi, India. Next to that, radio format. Living on Earth is tailored for people who prefer listening to radio shows and podcasts over reading news articles. As public radio's environmental news magazine Living on Earth broadcast every week across 250 public radio stations. It provides listeners with news on range of environmental issues from climate change to pandemic disruption. Pandemic disruption in the time of COVID-19. So we can go to the Google and we can search Living on Earth. We can get one portal there. We can listen to the news. Television. Studies indicate that television is very effective while reporting environmental issues. Why? Because television is having different television act with our more senses, like it will act with eyes and ears as well. We can see those visuals, those can affect us. The message can influence us more effectively with that audio visual format. It enables greater retention tendency. Retention tendency is more in television among the viewers. As a result, government is increasingly interested in allocating prime time slot to environmental programs on the television. National Geography is one good example of television reporting of environmental issues. There are different environmental format given by science journalism. Media and environmental narratives. Second option is social media. Social media is one of the prominent media while dealing with environmental issues. Two prominent examples are Fridays for Future and Extinction Rebellion. These are the social media movement or social media usage of social media for dealing with environmental issues. And Fridays for Future is an international movement of school students who skip their Friday classes to participate in demonstration to demand action from political leaders to prevent climate change and for the fossil fuel industry to transit to renewable energy. Uh, Publicity and widespread organizing began after Swedish student Greta Thunberg. We all know about Greta Thunberg, who is climate activist. Greta Thunberg stage of protest in August 2018 outside the Swedish Riksdag, holding a sign that read "School Strike for Climate." So this is the start of the Friday for Future. Friday for Future was widespread movement on social media as well, specifically Twitter. International Federation, we have different international organization to deal with environmental journalism. One of those is International Federation of Environmental Journalists. It improved public understanding of environmental issues worldwide by supporting environmental journalists internationally through networking, education, and fostering open access to environmental information. Environmental journalism helps environmental movements to reach more people, to get the attention, to make it mass movement. In USA, environmental justice movement in 1918. Environmental justice is social movement to address the unfair exposure of poor and marginalized communities to harm from hazardous waste, resource extraction, and other land users. So these specific movements got help from different media. In Africa, Green Belt movement in 1977, it is an indigenous grassroots organization in Kenya that empowers women through the planting of trees. Then in India, Chipko movement. These are the environmental movements in different parts of the world. In India, Chipko movement was spreaded by Chandani Prasad Bhatt and Sundarlal Bahuguna in the villages of Garhwal, Himalayas, Uttarakhand. Uttarakhand is a state in India. The movement started there. The movement was carried on by local community members, specifically women, against mindless deforestation. They registered their protest by hugging the trees. Chipko means to be attached. Chipko movement means to be attached with the trees. International environmental agreements. Uh, there are different international agreements on environment, because environmental development is one of the or first or very crucial areas of the development. So we have different environmental agreements like Montreal Protocol, like the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, like the Nagua Protocol. Montreal Protocol on substance that deplete the ozone layer specified that the production and consumption of compounds, chlorofluorocarbon, halogens, carbon tetrachloride, and methyl chloroform that deplete the ozone layer in the stratosphere be phased out. And UNFCCC is the foundation of global efforts to combat global warming. Nagua Protocol deals with the genetic resources and the fair, equitable sharing of benefit arising from the utilization to the Convention on Biological Diversity. It is an international agreement which aims to share the benefit arising from the utilization of genetic resources in a fair and equitable way. Media and environmental communication, or media and environment, we have finished the discussion on that. Our next topic is there any question on that topic, media and environment? No?
Nope, nope.
Okay. 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 Sorry. Media and human rights. The last unit is media and human rights. Human rights. Human rights is has different definitions. As Jack Donnelly explains in his seminal work Universal Human Right in Theory and Practice, that the traditional societies did not have formal human rights frames, yet they had politically and legally well defined systems of duties, justice, and human dignity. We find the traces of the demand for an attainment of human rights from the ancient history. So the human right is coming from the very what should I say, very primitive time. So we had earlier we had human rights, but it was not well written, it was not well documented, but we had human rights. Various human rights were formalized and institutionalized in different political structure, including monarchies. In India, in the time of monarchies, we had different human rights setups. If we talk about the world history, human right of the ancient history came from the Babylonian king Hammurabi. Hammurabi's code is one of the first documented human rights code, I can say, issued a set of public law known as Hammurabi's code. These laws included almost every sphere of life, ranging from civil laws, marriage, and family to property codes, minimum and fair wages. So every aspect, not every aspect, but large range of aspects were documented in Hammurabi's code. Next to that, medieval history, or in the time of medieval period, the world history, if we talk about world history, the Renaissance in 14th and 17th century, and the 18th century Europe, the Renaissance period, it is known as the first wave of human right movement for religious and civil liberties. The in the modern time, the UN's concept of human right is based on universal and egalitarian natural rights or basic rights, emphasizing upon individualism. So UN's concept of human right is about individual human right. According to United Nations, human rights are rights inherent to all human beings, regardless of race, sex, nationality, ethnicity, language, religion, or any other status. There are different conceptual frameworks related to individual and society right theories. So, according to the UN, human right is individual, but according to some theorist or some philosopher, human right is socially constructed or social. There are different social meanings of human rights. The classical philosopher Plato and Aristotle proposed the idea of universalism and justice. English philosopher John Locke, whose idea of natural right became the foundation of modern liberalism. He defined three elements of natural right. First one is life, second one is liberty, and the third one is property. Excuse me. And the third one is property. But philosophers like Immanuel Kant, Thomas Paine, Karl Popper, they defended the single attribution of individual freedom as human right. Rights of equality, justice, dignity were promoted by liberal economists and philosophers such as John Stuart Mill, Adam Smith, David Ricardo for decentralization of power in individuals, groups, organizations, market, media, instead of the state. The second set of theories emerge into society where individual is considered as a part of the society. Theories like David Hume hold human rights as social product developed through the social processes. Based on Thomas Hobbes' views that individual is a society accept rules from legitimate authority in exchange for security and economic advantage. John Rawls developed the social contract theory. Rousseau extended this social contract theory to general will of people. So the conceptual framework of human rights is having different dimensions, individual and society. Some of the philosophers, they believe that the human rights specifically about universalism and justice, and it is about like Immanuel Kant, Thomas Paine, they define it as single attribute of human right or as individual right, individual freedom. But some of the philosophers, they believe that it is under society. We are under society, we are within society, and we are exchanging our rights and all in exchange of the security and economic advantages which we get from the society. So it is under society rights. Then next to that, negative and positive rights theory. A close scrutiny of human rights provides another set of theories which is called positive and negative right theory. Based on rights, legislation, and practice, negative rights are individual liberties enjoyed through non-interference by others. Non-interference by others. Herbert Spencer asserts every man has freedom to do all that he wills, provided he infringes not on the equal freedom of every other man. First generation right, also sometimes called political right, are essentially negative right. So negative rights, for example, right to vote. This right to vote is under the negative right. And the positive rights are what Henry Shaw calls as social guarantees against actual and threatened deprivation of at least some basic needs. Those are affirmative action by state and society to protect individual. So the positive rights are affirmative actions given by state or society to protect our individual right. The second generation rights are predominantly positive. The second generation right, for example, education, employment, healthcare, etc. First generation right is right to vote. Second generation right, right to education, right to employment, right to health, which are given by state government or in exchange with like tax payment and all. So these are the second generation rights, are called positive or welfare rights. By taking individual as an active agent and development as interdependent phenomenon, we can understand the complexities in terms of three conventional dichotomies offered by Jan Sarvas and Kreis Varsoten. So very difficult name. Tradition and modernity, universality and relativism, individualism and collectivism. It is having dichotomies and two different dimensions: tradition and modernity. Traditional thing, modernity is coming from the developed one, and the traditional thing, traditional aspect is the aspect delivered from the third world countries. It is instead of discarding the tradition completely in third world countries like India, we have we have our own tradition and we don't want to discard those tradition. So instead of discarding the tradition completely, we can point out the wrong practices and make people aware to remove those practices. For example, females caste based one good example is caste based discrimination. We have caste based discrimination, we have our tradition, we will follow our tradition, but we will not follow caste based discrimination. This is the combination of tradition versus modernity, or tradition and modernity. Next to that is universality and relativism. Universality means if we follow anything, any right, that is universal. That means there cannot be a single solution for problems or of similar nature everywhere. If we have similar nature everywhere or single solution everywhere, well, it is called universality. The same thing doesn't have the same solution in Africa and same solution in India. We have different perspective, we have different social segments, we have different economical and political system, and the solution will be different. The context, the people, their values matters, and we should talk at indigenous tradition to seek answer of those. Individualism and collectivism. International Bill of Human Rights recognizes only individual right. Individual right is right that is only that is only given to one individual, and collectivism is means everyone together. Legal frame: Universal Declaration of Human Rights. National and international human right National and international human rights laws set out clear standards that promote and protect the rights of individual and place on states and responsibility to uphold their rights. The articles range from individual, natural, and negative right and social state responsibility based positive right. As I told, that negative right means individual, like right to vote, and the social state responsibility based positive right means right to education. I have right to get the basic education, that is positive right. Thus they are fully centered on right to life and dignity and protection of it. Right to life and dignity and protection of it. First one is natural right or birthright. Right to equality, life, liberty, security, dignity, right against slavery and cruelty, positive right provided by the state. It comes under Article 1 to 5. Next to that, Article 6 to 12. Article 6 to 12 deal with right to equal protection of the law and other related laws to justice, personal liberty-based rights. Then Article 13 to 20 deal with right to privacy, honor, freedom of movement, residence, nationality, right to marry, have a family, property, freedom of thought, expression, religion, political right. Article 21 to 22 cover right to freedom of peaceful assembly or association, right to take part in government, social, economic, cultural rights. Right, Article 23 to 28 deal with right to social security, employment, economic security, education, cultural life, social order, and duties. Fourth part is duty. Article 29 to 30. Duties of individual and state, respectively, to keep environment suitable for enjoyment of human rights by all in society. Indian Constitution. So the former one, it was Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Next is Indian Constitution and Human Rights. In India, we have fundamental rights. In our Constitution, from Article 12 to 35, specified our fundamental rights. the They ensure media and human rights, freedom of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship, equality of status, and the opportunity, fraternity, dignity of individual. Then we have directive principle from Article 36 to 51. The National Human Rights Commission was constituted by the Protection of Human Rights Article 1993, enacted by the Parliament of India. This National Human Rights Commission, it protects our human rights. Role of media. So we have different rights. Then why do we need media? We need media because if anything happens to me, if my right is not given to me, it is violated, I can go to the media, or media can report it, so that people can interact according to the report. By educating the community about the standards and the mechanism in place to protect their right and individual. Sometimes in specific local remote areas, people do not know about their right. People do not know about their right to live anywhere. We have in India, we can live anywhere we want. So if someone wants to get them out of their property, or they are forcing someone, you can't stay here, we can go to the people to report it. But if we do not have the information about our own fundamental right, we can't go there. So it is the role of the media, it is the duty of the media to give them information, proper information about their human rights, are better able to assert their own right. If I see the report in any media, I can better able to assert my own right. I'll be empowered to stand up for the right of others. I can stand for me and I can stand for others too. Can hold governments and decision makers to account for their action and advocate for change to laws, policies, and practices. Role of media. Another thing is representation of social identities like caste, class, gender, ethnicity, and minority. So these are the specific segments: different caste, different class, different genders, ethnicity, and minority. If any fundamental right is violated on the basis of these things, the representation of media is very crucial, because if media representation is proper, then we will follow the proper way of respect, proper way of not violating on the basis of caste, class, gender, ethnicity, and minority. That is why framing and priming are very crucial from the end of the media. Framing is the frame of the media report, means showing something in a specific way or angle, as I told while I discussed about gender representation. And priming is giving the prominence to any of the text. The news is provided with the meaning also through placing the order of media. If I put an information on the first page of the daily newspaper or the leading newspaper, people will think that it is the most important or hot topic of that day. If I'm giving the place on the middle of the page or last of the page, people will consider it as least important. Human rights, the stories according to the inverted pyramid style. Inverted pyramid style means, if I arrange the stories, inverted pyramid means giving the they will consider the first means it is very difficult to show you that one pyramid is like we draw a triangle. This is the reporting style. We draw a triangle and we invert it. The base and the broader base of the triangle will be the higher, and the lower tip of the triangle will be the lower side of the triangle. So according to that theory or according to that model, we will report it. Means the most important story will go to the first page, then next to that pyramid, then next, and the least important story will be the last news of the page. So according to the inverted pyramid style, we can arrange our report. Means while reporting, we can write the most important line about the report on one report or one writing, and we can also follow our page style on inverted pyramid style. Means the most important news upper side, next least important, like this we can report the least important news at last. So these are the different styles of inverted pyramids, pyramid reporting style, and layout styles are there. So priming is like that. If we give the news the prominence or the prime slot or the higher slot, people will consider it as the most important story, and if we put it at the last of the front page, they will not either read it or they will escape the report. So if we want to attract the audience, we will put the story at the highest point of the first page of the newspaper. Participatory media is very important to achieve human rights, because in participatory media, when I am participating into the media system, or I am reporting, or I am doing any citizen journalism kind of thing, I will be involved in the process. From the end of the marginalized section, participatory media or participatory communication is very important for their human rights, because with the help of some community media or participatory media, they can report their right, they can report their problems, they can fight for their rights. Like if I talk about the third gender community of our country, so the third gender community from Bangladesh, from India, from different countries, they form their own social media page, their own groups. They always post something about their problem, their rights and all on the social media page, and all the people, maximum of the people from their community are there, they participate there. So it is kind of participatory media, where they can put their problem, they can put their issues, because these issues are always neglected by the mainstream media. So fighting for the fundamental right, for fighting for the human right is very important, because if we do not fight for our human right, we will be uh, what should I say, we will be always overlooked by the media. One good example is Khabar Leheria. Khabar Leheria is women-run media or participatory media in India. And another example is Fagun. Fagun is one newspaper. It is run by one tribe of tribal community of India called Santhal. There they put their rights, their thoughts, their issues, specifically regarding their things. So whatever we have discussed today about gender, about education, fundamental rights, environment, health, all these are specifically deals with the function of the media. One, we need information disseminator, we need change of agent of change, media as a stimulator, messenger to policymakers. So for all these issues, for all these developmental issues, mass media or any kind of media, function of any kind of media will be information dissemination. They will act as change agent, they will stimulate our thinking or stimulate the process, and they will act as the bridge to bridge between normal people and policymaker, sometimes government and normal people, sometimes policymakers and government, so they act as messenger. There are, I have listed some book, you can get a picture of these slides. For more, to get more information, you can read these books. I think these books are available online. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Is there any question?
Hello.
Yes.
But I think first of all, this is a very good presentation.
Thank you.
Just a question, in your opinion, what do you think is the role of media on rights that I would say that are sometimes controversial in some societies? I'll give an example. Like rights about identity, gender. Um, now maybe people can decide I'm a man, I'm what. But maybe in some societies that is difficult. I'll give an example in Africa. What would be the role of media in trying to reconcile, to relate people having rights, and then the media playing an important role in educating people regarding those rights? What would be the role of media in such a case?
What would be the role of media if
Yes.
people are not aware about their own rights?
No, I'm talking about specific rights that may be very controversial in certain cultures. Okay.
Certain cultural rights.
Yes. So I gave. Okay. So I gave an example. We have got some human rights that are still very difficult to accept in some cultures. For
Right.
example, yes, for example, things about sexuality in Africa, perhaps, what people know is that marriage is man and woman. Okay? So now we have got human rights that say, okay, yeah, you can also marry a fair man, you can also marry a fair woman. And now these are very difficult to accept in such cultures. Now I'm saying, what is the role of media, which is ideally you are supposed to play a neutral role? I mean, you cannot take part. This is what I assume, right? Yeah. What is the role of media in such kind of settings in trying to reconcile having to teach about rights in a neutral position in a community that is a little bit polarized? What is the role?
Okay. What I get your point is, like, if you have right that is not acknowledged by everyone, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Acknowledged by everyone, but you want to get that right, so how media will play the role here? So if I talk about mainstream media, I'll give you the example from India. So in India also, the cultural settings are like this: we cannot acknowledge the marriage between one female and female, right? So it is not well acknowledged in media in Indian culture also. But in some cases we can see this kind of settings in some films, or newly launched web series. So if people see this kind of things in medias, they can get those things into them. One theory I can say about that is that is George Gardner's cultivation theory. So it is not the one day thing that can happen in one day just after the sunset. We need time, but media plays crucial role in stimulating those thinking within our mind, because if we see things day by day, every day, repetitive manner and cumulative manner, one day our thinking will be influenced by that thought. So I think media plays a role there. And another thing is alternative space. So if you use alternative space like alternative social media pages and groups, alternative newspapers, alternative online papers, these alternative papers can place your views and your rights, and you can be vocal with that things. Okay, so we have to use that as a media student or as media person. We have to give this we have to put this effort, and we have to make these things, we have to bring forth these things into the popular discussion. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, any other thought?
And just maybe follow-up question. Is it
Yes.
is it ethical? Is it ethical, or if I can call it ethical? Can media stay silent or stay silent on issues that it thinks are controversial? Is it ethical for them?
Is it ethical for media to be silent? Simon, can you repeat this?
Hello. Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Do you
Yes,
have any question?
hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I
Yes.
can hear you.
Actually, I like the lectures and I learned a lot. But I need
Thank you.
more clarification about this environmental journalism. I need more
What?
clarification about environmental journalism.
Can you type it in the what journalism?
Environmental,
Environmental.
yes. You have mentioned
What
some
can
important
you?
aspects of environmental concern, like ozone layer depletion and climate change.
Hmm.
But I think these
Mm-hmm.
issues of ozone layer depletion, climate change, and what have you, they are specific to Western countries. And in Africa, we have other areas of
Mm-hmm.
concern like waste management uh, and poaching of animals, which leads to loss of some species. So my question is,
Yes.
are waste management and this issue of poaching involved in environmental journalism or not? Because the Western media always concentrate more on ozone layer depletion, climate change, and sometimes pollution. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I understood your point. Yes, definitely. Animal poaching is like it is under environmental journalism, because if animals are poached like that, it can create imbalance in our ecosystem. This can influence our climate further. So it can be like African issues, because Africa is having more jungles and animals and all different diversity species. So it can be area specific. You are right that ozone layers and all these are the Western specific things. And even in outside Western context also, we talk about ozone layers and all, because it is the issue, it is affecting everyone. So the environmental journalism and issues on it, issues about it, it can be specific according to the regions. African, Latin American, South Asian, it can be specific. We have another session right after this, so we will end this session right now. I lost network, so I did not get your answer. I was asking, is it ethical for media to stay silent on matters that are controversial in the societies in which such media is working in? Controversial topics. So media is totally related to controversial topics, because there are certain topics which are controversial. It is our own skill, it is the skill of those journalists, how they will deal with that controversial topic and how to report that topic being neutral. But it is our duty not to be silent, but we have to report it being neutral. This is the thing. Thank you. This session, I will end this session right now. Sir is waiting. Hello, sir.
Hi, and thanks, Madhumita. Shall we take some break? Because I thought that lesson session might have got over around 4:40 or 4:45. Now almost 5:10. It's not good to continue immediately. So shall we take at least 10, 15 minutes? 5:30 shall we start? 5:30 Indian Standard Time means another after 20 minutes. You also take a break, then I'll start.
Yes, yes.
Right?
Yes, yes.
So we'll resume the meeting, second session after 25 minutes. So 5:30 in Indian time, maybe equivalent to your time, you can come. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you. So Madhumita, I'm stopping the recording and